morning, viewers around the world. Good morning, audiences live. You're welcome to another program, another day in our Schengen Story News Echoes. And joining me as usual are my friends, coordinators around Europe. I'm sitting in for the meantime for our moderator, Dr. Shegun Johnson. My name is Mark Godwin Iweajuma, airing from Milan, Italy. And with us is our London in-house researcher, Dr. Ambassador Nat Yako. Ambassador Nat Yako, you're welcome to today's News Echoes.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir. Yes. Okay. Joining from far away, let me bring in my brother now, Dr. Shegun. Dr. Shegun, you're welcome to News Echo.
Thank you very much. It's good to be welcome on this program, at least for a change. I'm so grateful for standing in for me. Technological issues arising from my end, and I think shall be resolved. And we're glad to have Dr. Godwin Ibe from Russia.
Yes, Dr. Godwin Ibe is here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we're going to be asking you a lot of questions because we want to know the situation on Russia-Ukrainian war. And but let me just thank Mark for standing in for me. So many things are happening around the world. Let's start with Britain. Yesterday, the Rwanda deportation was aborted. Nat, why was that?
Well, it was a last-minute court injunction from European Union Court of Justice, which ruled that enough has not been done to ensure that UK is doing the right thing, Rwanda is doing the right thing. At the 11th hour, in fact, the 7 passengers had boarded an aircraft and an Air Force base because there were protesters, people protesting in almost all the airports in the UK. So Priti Patel, the Prime Minister, and the Minister of Defense thought they could use that Air Force base in Wiltshire. But the flight was cancelled to another day. And Priti Patel, still even deviant and adamant, says the next flight preparations started yesterday when the first one was cancelled. So
how much do you think was lost in all of these preparations between then and now?
It's not going to be easy to quantify because there are some things you cannot quantify. You can't put figures on. But we are talking of
between 500,000.
More than £500,000 going down the drain on both sides.
On both sides.
Yeah, Rwanda and UK.
Let me ask Dr. Godwin, all the way from Russia. Where you right now, Godwin?
I'm in Moscow, Russia, capital.
Wow. Can I come and visit? I've never been to Russia.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm sure you'll love it. All the people who came for the World Cup in Russia said it was the best organized World Cup so far.
Wow. Yes, I saw some things on the television, and it's like, so they give us the impression that Moscow is a third world country. That's the impression.
Oh, according to the United Nations, Russia came first this year in development in best world city in terms of infrastructure development and social care, according to United Nations.
Why do people give wrong impression about other countries? Their own country is the best, other countries are the worst, and these things continue, especially in the European press, Western press especially. Well, let's move on. You've heard what happened. The Rwanda deportation did not happen. Many people felt bad, including Prince Charles, saying that why should we be deporting people to where they have run from? Why are we sending them back to slavery? And more importantly, was the mystery of Kagame, the president of Rwanda. Why would he sign for that? Selling his birthright for 30 pieces of silver. What will you say, Godwin?
It's just unbelievable. In fact, many people in Russia poke fun at it, joke about it. Even the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has made a statement about it. It's unbelievable at every level of the political spectrum in Russia. We just can't believe that something like this will happen. But I must say that I am in no position to dictate what goes on in Britain. I'm in no position to advise them. I could only say the perception of what it looks like over here. And basically, it's received with a lot of disbelief and negativity. Why, even though we've heard about the assurances and promises of the Rwanda government that the refugees will be able to return back to Britain at any time, we also don't really believe that. And how can you guarantee the welfare of the people? Why would they come to Britain if they could go to Rwanda directly instead of coming to Britain, for example? And also, Ukrainian citizens, we heard Ukrainian citizens will be exempted. Why? Why special treatment, or would they be added and maybe in secret? All these questions they just cause a lot of really disbelief. But I'm in no position. I believe British citizens know what's best. I believe the government are competent enough to know what's best for themselves and for the country.
As an apartheid situation, Ukrainian citizens have been given a lot of money to come and stay here. The people hosting them, they are also being given money. Yet, for it won't happen for other citizens of other nationalities. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ebe. We're still coming back to you very soon. Mark, how does the rest of Europe handle their asylum problems? It appears that the United Kingdom is not getting it right. Yet it is the same asylum problems that face the rest of Europe. How do you perceive the way England or the UK has gone about it? And how do you handle it in your own continent there?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Shagun. It's the asylum issue is a very, very serious issue. Western Europe has also been flooded with that situation. Take note that there has been real rush and some real serious flow of migrants coming from the Lampedusa, the south of Italy, into Europe. And what happened 2 years ago was, at the point Italy got to the breaking point and had to cry out to EU, had to cry out to other European countries to help with the situation. So they had an exchange plan where certain numbers of the asylum seekers were scattered around Western Europe. Because EU is a strong force. EU has means to cater to human beings when they want to. They were able to come up with plans, erect homes, shelters, and all that, and that worked well for them. But somehow it doesn't really work well, because that shows like they are encouraging that activity, and like we know, some of these migrant flow is illegal. Some people actually are behind it, gaining and making money out of it. So what they've done now is immediately you come in, you go through a process, and you're scrutinized, you're checked on very well, reasons and everything. And in most cases, they take them back. Yes, Italy has done that too. Italy actually took back some of the asylum seekers. Spain did that. Yes, they take them back to their home country, where they claim to come from. So, but looking at this UK plan, somehow I wouldn't totally condemn it, because while we're talking now, yesterday 444 more people are passing through that channel, coming into the UK with those dinghy boats. So if it's not really checked on, I don't know what measure could be a good one, could be an ideal one. But if it's not really checked on, there might be much flow. And it might really encourage. And like we said, some people are gaining out of this. Some people are cashing in out of this. So we don't know. What we know is the Europeans, the Western Europe, EU have had their own issues on it, and they've somehow worked upon it. Somehow. Somehow.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. The last argument will go to you, Nat. The argument is that the United Kingdom obviously cannot take all the 8 billion people on planet Earth into its little island. And that many of these migrants, they are economic migrants. Why should we have them? They should go back to their country. But the counter argument has been that these people coming from different countries, their citizens hundreds of years ago have gone to build this place. They built England, they built France, they built many of these European countries. And so it's time, it's payback time. And that's why we're having these challenges. Why should we now deny them? And that has been the argument. While we're waiting for Nat for technological reasons. Oh, yeah, Nat, you had the question.
Yes.
Yes, so the balance, where is the balance there? Their forefathers slaved for these European capitals. Now they're coming back to earn some things. Why not?
Well, I think all is about politics, geopolitics, and then balancing the challenges that have come forth in the 21st century, and especially immigration. Immigration has been top on the agenda in the 21st century. And the issue that is becoming blurred and very difficult to distinguish between the economic migrants and human trafficking products. Most of these things are human trafficking. The people trafficking and the people being trafficked, let's say the people who are trafficking humans, they make a hell lot of money. And
That's
it
correct.
has become a very lucrative economy at the moment. And in the case of Britain, here in the UK, it's a political issue uh, because has a different agenda, the Tories have a different agenda, and the present government, the Tory government, with Prime Minister Johnson Minister of Interior, I think Minister of the Interior, they want to be seen to be to be on the
To be
side
doing
of the
something.
people in the UK. That is the way they want to see it, because the people in the UK are complaining of strangers coming to take their space, coming to take their resources, and they are not feeling too comfortable with what is going on.
Yeah. Maybe we'll devote time to this topic one day. Let me use the opportunity to welcome Dr. Osita and Emeka all the way from Abuja. You are welcome, Osita.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry, I
We
was late. I had connectivity problems.
we are aware of that, and
Mhm.
what can we do but to pray for you? I mean, for the
Thank you.
nation.
Thanks for your kind prayers. God bless you.
Amen. We
Thank
were
you.
just about to round up the discussion of the aborted Rwandan deportation, and Rwanda was ready, England was ready, but the the European Commission for Human Rights just threw it out of European Court of Human Rights. Let me get it right. Threw it away yesterday, and that's it. How would you have felt as an African living in Africa right now if people have been deported? People found their way from Africa to England and then from England to Rwanda. What will have been your perception, Dr. Sita?
It has been an issue that we have discussed in the last 2 years. As a matter of fact, my college had raised a panel of experts to talk about it, because it wasn't just because of Rwanda, it was because of the fact that we found people who were not ready to go to Europe,
Mm.
and then they get there, they are stranded. I have seen some of those, stranded. So we were planning to build an Africa house where we get them together, train them. You know what my college does? We train them and
Mm.
get them to return to wherever they were coming from and live better. As a matter of fact,
Wow.
we had grants that were supposed to do that, but unfortunately, we were trying Spain. Somehow, the same people who were trying to help, began to protest because they didn't understand it. And some of them are regretting it now because they are finding life a lot more difficult than what they thought it was going to be. Some of them live in shacks, and they live in batches.
Makeshift. Yeah,
Yeah,
makeshift.
yeah. I went there once and I was screaming. A place where you cannot live in Nigeria, and the
Mm.
kind of conditions where that they cannot take. Some of them,
Mm.
they bathe outside early in the mornings. You can ask yourself what's going on here. You leave the country to live like this. You know what they said to
Mm.
me? That their suffering has hope. That in the next 2 or 3 years they will live here and migrate into a better place. That in Nigeria,
Wow.
nobody has that kind of hope. Yeah, that's the kind
Wow.
of thing. Yeah. So the Rwandan thing was just not good for them. As a matter of fact, they would have found a way out of it. Not that they want to come back to Africa. None of them.
Okay, we will find time to devote at least 1 hour to this issue because that was how apartheid started. That was how slavery started.
Yes,
Nobody
yes,
gave it a
slavery,
serious
yes,
dose.
slavery,
Yeah,
especially.
we have to
Yeah.
give it a, but we just don't have time on this program because we are being from 2 television stations in Europe, one in France, one in Italy. So we cannot afford to spend all the time on just one topic. So I will just use that one to move on. This is very serious. The OPL 245 UK court rules against Nigeria in 1.7 billion JP Morgan suit. For those who do not know the background of the story, it's believed that JP Morgan was involved in a fraudulent transfer of 1.7 billion concerning certain things with the oil of Nigeria, and they fought for it. And as soon as the Buhari regime came in, then they came to the UK court to say that JP Morgan was involved in this fraud, 1.7 billion. They said that all the money during Jonathan regime should not have been paid. And Adoke, the then Attorney General, was implicated. Well, he said it was not. In short, the court ruled yesterday that there was no element of fraud in it. I don't know whether you believe the UK court or not, but they said that the things went according to the law of the land when the transaction was made. Um, I would have loved Mark in Milan to take off this one. Mark, are you there? Okay. In the absence of Mark, Nat, what do we know? How is Nigeria reacting to this?
Well, I think let's start with the basics. Sometimes we have lost cases because of technicalities, and,
Mm,
and because of there wasn't exhaustive investigation. And then the from the Nigerian side, who are the lawyers or solicitors handling the case? How 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 thorough and how uh, smart and brilliant have they been? And sometimes we've had issues of connivance. Our lawyers, Nigerian lawyers, even in the UK here, conniving with these big international bodies, and the UK lawyers or the UK courts get away with some of these issues.
mm,
So there is always, you see, there are always gray areas which either the truth is not being told or there's manipulation in the system, because some people are benefiting from both sides. So that is the that is the
So we have lost that money in short.
yes.
Hmm.
I don't know whether there's
Dr.
any
Dr.
I don't know
Dr.
whether there's
Ebe,
any room for appeal.
Dr. Ebe, you are a very passionate Nigerian. How do you feel losing that kind of money to incompetence and to fraudulent people we know?
Well, if I'm going to crucify myself because of that, I'll be practicing the highest form of hypocrisy. That won't be the last amount that's stolen, and it's not the first. But what baffles me the most in this situation is the fact that for some reason, someone thinks that other countries should assume responsibility for our national security. And so, for example, someone imagines that American multinational investment bank should have cancelled the deal, should not have accepted 1.7 billion free cash money. Why not? If I was the chairman of the bank, would I refuse it? I will promote it. I will facilitate it. I will make all sorts of vehicles to make it work. Why would I reject 1.7 billion that a country says take on a platter of gold? How would I want to reject it? Let's be realistic. We can't expect other countries to care for our national security interest. We should care for it ourselves. If we are serious, if we are competent, if we are serious, then that's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be asking why did
I'll be shocked if the UK court has 1.7 billion to get out of the economy right now.
Yeah, why would they? Even if they want to, how would they pass it? It would take they would do it in tranches. They wouldn't do it at once. They would think about the interest rate of the country at that time, the opportunity cost, the capital cost of capital, before they would even return the money. This is just simple economics. It's just it doesn't baffle me that the money was stolen. It doesn't baffle me that someone has interest in this money. This doesn't baffle me. What baffles me is the basis of the case that American multinational investment bank should have stopped the deal. Why would they do that? Why?
Thank you, Doctor. Mark in Milan, I know you are interested in this case. How much did we really lose from the case? Because I remember Malami jetting to UK and bringing a load of lawyers, and they got an injunction, and they did this and did that. We stayed in 5-star hotels. Now we finally lost. How much have we really lost now?
Well, we've lost more than 1.7 billion, Dr. Shegun. But officially, let's put it at that. The UK court has ruled that against Nigeria, that the 1.7 against JP Morgan over the transfer of proceeds from the sale of that OPL 245, that it's a no-no. The judge, one Sarah Cockerell, something, said
something like that, yeah.
Yes, that Nigeria couldn't show that it's been defrauded. That's a slight to a sovereign nation. That's a very big one.
I thought so. When I read it, I thought so myself.
Yes, that's a big one. Federal government sued JP Morgan, alleging that the bank ought to have known that there was corruption. And this whole thing is playing out very funny. But now we've lost. We've lost, and the trial took some time. Take note that those trial season, we were also spending. We were spending, traveling, taking officials back and forth, bringing documents, bringing papers, and arguing and all that. And now it has not worked to our favor. It's a sad one. It was said that the money was laundered to Etete. Dan Etete's account, yes, in 2013. And so much. The conspiracy surrounding the whole thing is so bizarre. But we've lost. And, yes, sir.
You think the former Attorney General Adoke will now be working with his head shoulder high, even though the Nigerian Bar Association, that they nearly debarred him, they nearly took away all his. They believe that he stole a lot of money there. You think he has a right to be working shoulder high now?
No. You can't.
You know, Mark. Sorry. You know the way they put it, that you are not jailed doesn't mean you didn't steal it.
See, these are very funny coinage they bring out. Anyway, this is how it's done, and we're not happy about it. So this money is for the general. I mean, it's our money, Nigerian people money, and somehow it has gone down the.
So let's see how Abuja has received it. Abuja, how did you receive losing 1.7 billion? And they said the country was not good enough to identify a fraud their way. I mean, the way they coined it is like, look, you are the loser. So how did you copy?
Thank you, Dr. Shegun. We don't even talk about it. No, I mean, we it's not as if I don't. We as a country, because tomorrow there's going to be another one. There were so many, so many yesteryears. The only reason why we're talking about this now is that it is now. Unlike Dr. Ibe said, the banks in Switzerland that accept our stolen money, they are doing business.
Yes.
They're not going to say to you, this is money. What is the color of this money? Is it colored, with corruption? Is it colored by theft? Is it colored by the fact that it is taken because the person is in government? The money found its way through the doors of a bank, through the gateways of a bank. And no bank would say to you, tell me where this money is coming from. If it is bad money, I won't take it. No bank anywhere in the world. So because the banks know this, they also are prepared to deal with Nigerian money, no matter where it's coming from, the way it comes. Okay, look at your place in the UK. Most of the property that Nigerian stolen money buys are those properties that have been abandoned. Most of these properties that they buy mean nothing after all in the end, because these are properties abandoned just because of the way the economy is going in the UK. They go there, they purchase it, and the money is tied in there because they can't sell, they can't live there, they can't use the property. That money, it's like gone and dead. So what we're saying here is that people have penchant to steal in my country. They steal because we praise them. So what am I going to discuss about the JP Morgan case, 1.7 billion, when somebody, one person alone in this country is rolling bullion vans all over the place with billions of dollars all over the place. So people don't talk about it anymore. All we're talking about now is whether change is going to come. If it's going to come, how is it going to come? Is it still by money or by the fact that that we don't even know what we're doing? We're a crazy country, and until we come to sanity, this will continue. It will continue.
I think I'm sad when I hear some middle leaders saying take their money but vote your conscience. You cannot take stolen money and you say you have conscience.
That's even the worst thing to say. It's even the worst thing to say. You're encouraging people to take dirty money and do what? Vote their conscience. They are dirty already. So they're going to vote dirt. They're going to vote dirt.
In any case, I know that you're taking the money is just what the politicians needed. They didn't need you voting for them. They knew you can you cannot take money and complain that they rigged the election. You cannot.
Absolutely. And then you cannot complain that they didn't serve you because they paid you in advance. They served you in advance by giving you whatever they feel like giving to you. So in 8 years, 4 years of their terms, they don't have to do anything for you anymore.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sita. We'll go on a short break. When we return, Dr. Godwin Ibe will be at the center of our discussion. The man living in Moscow for years and coming to tell us the nitty-gritty of the Russian-Ukrainian war. What's going on there? And then we'll be looking at who's going to be the VP of at Tinubu. We hear that Wike is the one for PDP. Atiku. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, Fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better. The Inside Story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle. Inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment. A better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story Magazine. Get Schengen Story Magazine full editions.
Hi there, I'm Mary Keurig, and I am a businesswoman in the United States, but I'm also the Global Content Vice President for the Sub-Saharan Open University in Nigeria. I could not be prouder to work with Dr. Osita Anamika and his team on helping to create not just entrepreneurs and skill-based talent that will get out into the workforce and make a living for themselves, but also young leaders. And to that end, with this integrity-rich university environment that's accredited now, and it's just an amazing opportunity for anyone there of any age to jump on board and learn, we want to let you know about a new offering that we have. We have a global governance and diplomacy course now provided by a whole team of people that crosses several countries to put together these resources and lots of great information for those of you who might be on the path toward public service and diplomatic service, NGO leadership, that sort of thing. We hope that you will walk through this open door and enjoy.
When I wrote the book, The Final Solution, the Lord gave me some things in the spirit realm to see going to happen here. And that is why you need to get a copy of this book, not because of the purchase, but because of the contents. We've not spent 2 weeks. Now we have seen the problem in Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus, Donetsk, Luhansk, and all the other surrounding nations, talk less of the Western countries and the Eastern countries. We want to pray that this stops where it is. Some people are even imagining a third world war. I pray that there'll be no third world war. But we need to know the solution to all of these problems, and they are well packaged in that book, The Final Solution. The amount of money is next to nothing. Go to Amazon and buy this book. Go to the Kindle, go to KDP and buy this book. It's very important. So it is in Amazon and Kindle. And of course you can purchase the paperback, but it's not about the money. It's about the contents to have solution to Ukraine, to Russia, to the West, to the East, and indeed all parts of the world. Do get a copy and let's start operating the solution of God to our time.
Welcome back to News Echoes. We have with us today a very seasoned man, and he's been around for a while, analyzing on various platforms. It's my pleasure to welcome again Dr. Godwin Ibe, the chairman, NIDO, Russia, a man who lives in Moscow, a place I love to visit. Dr. Ibe, we welcome you again, and we hope we'll be having you more and more. Please tell us in a nutshell this Russian-Ukrainian war. Why did it have to start? Why, especially when the Soviet Union collapsed and gave different numerous countries, and all of a sudden Putin is bringing these countries back by force, by fire, by force, as they say it in Nigeria. What is it all about, and where are we? What's the present situation? Dr. Godwin.
Thank you so much for having me, Bishop. I would like to say it's the while the problem might seem global and complex, but the reason is actually quite simple. We have international law, but the way it applies to big countries and the way it applies to little countries are different, to be quite frank. Big countries don't joke with national security. They don't joke with balance of power, and especially those in the UN, United Nations Security Council. And for Russia, everyone knows that Russia doesn't bluff when it comes to defending the balance of power and national security interests. We've had for so many, in fact, according to United Nations report, since the overthrow in Russia is generally referred to as a coup of Yanukovych, the president of Ukraine, with Russians and Russian speaking in Ukraine, we've lost about 13,000 people, and I mean civilians. This, of course, pushed Russia to the edge. I would say even that Russia is very patient if you compare them to Israel, for example. Israel would not also joke with Iran building up missiles near their border. Also, the United States has Monroe Doctrine. It wouldn't allow the Soviet Union to even propagate missile close to neighboring countries like Venezuela, Cuba, or even Mexico. So when it comes to national security, the point is that no big country, no country in United Nations Security Council is going to joke with balance of power or national security interests. And unfortunately, Ukraine is in Russia's backyard. So it means they are willing to spend much more, and they're willing to do much more to ensure that they keep that balance of power.
Thank you very much for that background. Now, where are we in the war? Is it coming to an end? Will it come to an end? Or eventually the whole of Ukraine, including the capital, will be seized from what you are seeing?
Yeah, it's a very valid question. Let me just touch on the agreements that were reached before the special military operation, as it's referred to in Russia. We had the Minsk 1 and Minsk 2 agreement that was reached from 5th of September 2014 to 21st of February 2022. It was guaranteed by leaders of European countries, and it was supposed to ensure peace. It was supposed to ensure some freedom for Donbass residents. It was not adhered to. We may trade blames on one side or the other, but the bottom line, it was not adhered to. And there were more slaughter of residents in Donbass, and Russia felt that, well, enough is enough, and they decided to go in there. Well, it's a catastrophe both on its economic and social level. It's something that, well, I wish could have been avoided. But looking at the situation currently on ground today, there's no serious journalist or politician who is thinking that Ukraine can win, or at least remain in its border before the conflict. It's absolutely, whether Eastern or Western, there's absolutely no serious journalist who thinks so. Negotiations are ongoing between both parties, albeit slowly. I hope they can find some compromise. But the fact is that even if it ends today, it ends in some time. Ukraine will not, most likely not remain within its current border before the conflict. We already have President Biden, Antony Blinken from the United States, European prime ministers telling Ukraine that they might have to concede territory. Before, they weren't speaking this way. But you see, it's the reality on the ground now. Russia is making, maybe at some cost, but Russia is making strides on the war front. And well, in terms of the economy, we have the Ukraine, according to the World Bank, over 45% of the Ukrainian economy, and that's a modest estimate. 45% is gone, just gone in the wind. While in Russia, we're expecting a contraction of just 7.8% or 8%. So there's a disparity between the effect of what's going on, the result of the war, and when we expect that it ends soon. I will hope that at least dialogue can prevail and ends very soon.
Within the capacity of the Russian government and power, do you think the whole of Ukraine could be annexed by Russia?
Yes, it's possible. Like I said, there's absolutely no serious. This is happening in a Russian backyard. So the investment that Russia is willing to make to keep balance of power in their backyard is much more than there's no US soldier in Ukraine. There's no real EU army in Ukraine, but there are Russian army in Ukraine. So about the wheel and the amount that the price that is Russia is willing to pay is much more than that. So even President Zelensky said that what we have, the weapons we have today, is enough to defeat any army in Europe, but not Russia. He said it himself, open air on TV. So it's quite, yeah, that's exactly what it means.
They annexed Crimea and they've taken Donetsk. We know Luhansk is going, and the whole of Donbass will go. And do you think the Putin personal agenda is to reconstitute the USSR?
I can't read his mind, but there's one thing I know is that if Minsk 1 and Minsk 2 agreements were heeded to, then the amount of territory that would Ukraine, first of all, will remain within its current borders, while Donbass and Lugansk would have had a little bit of autonomy. So if people are scared of some kind of agenda of Putin, then why didn't they take that deal? Why did they have to let it get to this point where now Ukraine has lost not only Lugansk and Donetsk, but has lost Kherson, has lost Mariupol, Zaporozhye region, has lost a lot of parts of Kharkiv region. We have today 5 different fronts in the war for which Russia is making strides. Why did it have to get to this point? If anyone was afraid of the agenda, why didn't they agree to Minsk 1 and Minsk 2 agreement that would have made this, Ukraine at least remain within its territorial boundaries while giving a little bit of autonomy to people who consider themselves.
Final question to you before I go to our colleagues in Abuja and London. If NATO is being humiliated by Putin, why should Finland and Sweden now say, please put me into NATO, please put... I thought NATO has been defeated and slighted by these war going in favor of Russia. And why are these two countries now saying, I still want to be NATO, I want to be part of NATO? What will be pushing them? What's the attractive thing taking them to NATO when he cannot even fight for Ukraine that wanted to be part of NATO?
Oh, that's a very valid question and actually a very interesting one. Look, when you see Putin came on TV and said, well, Finland can join, Sweden can join NATO. We have absolutely no problem with that. And then immediately, bada boom, you see Turkish president say, no way, that can happen. You see Czech president say, that can happen immediately. And then now you even see the Finland prime minister saying that it may be paused. The whole movement to join NATO may be paused. She said it herself. Now you now wonder, well, was it coordinated? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe Russia has some information that some people don't have. The point is that it's not really in American interest. In my opinion, it's not even in American interest because Finland has an army of about 20,000. It means that to protect Finland, you will need the deployment of U.S. Army. We know how the economy is going right now. We know that it will increase the risk of conflagration with a nuclear state. We are talking about a state that has over 3,600 nuclear warheads, with each one more than 20 times the destructive force of Hiroshima. There's absolutely no doubt that no one wants such a kind of conflict. But the point is that even Finland is saying that the process might be imposed, and we have many opponents. And economists, political analysts say it isn't even in the interest of the United States. So it's quite interesting, but you can see that it doesn't depend on Putin and it doesn't depend on NATO. NATO can make all the public announcements. You can make all that, but it's not Putin's major problem right now if Finland is part of NATO. I'll just put it that way.
Thank you very much for this illumination, Dr. Sita. Why is America always afraid of Russia? Of course, you remember John F. Kennedy stopped the Cuban missile issue many years ago, and also they decided to buy Alaska just to be able to oversee what's going on in Russia. What is the obsession of the US against Soviet Union after so many years of Cold War, and now we're being thrown into this chaos again?
My answer is let Dr. Ibe go to America and educate America about Russia. America doesn't understand Russia. That's the problem. They don't even know how Russia thinks. And if I will go deeper, Europe is the same story, despite the fact that they're just next door. But the truth about it is that whether we like it or not, Russia has taken this step to frighten the world. But Putin is not a madman. He's not the kind of person who is going to cross the red line. He knows that. He understands that if he does, even Russia will be destroyed, even despite the fact that the rest of the world, will be affected too. But the smartest thing that they are doing now in Europe is knowing that they must not humiliate Putin. Our friend Macron said it. Yes, our friend Macron said it. He's particularly, not happy that Ukraine is going the way it's going. But the warning is that we cannot humiliate Putin, because what a humiliated man will do with the kind of power Putin has, cannot be imagined, even if it is the last thing that he does. So this is a very dicey situation. What America has been doing all this while, like some American presidents tried to understand Russia. They went all the way. Brezhnev and co. They came talking. And Ronnie, had the privilege of staying that close. But the issue is, do they really think that Russia is that bad boy, or is America, trying to use whatever they have, because they're America, to do what they are doing, so that they discredit Russia one way or the other, to keep doing what they are doing? Because whether we like it or not, NATO and Europe, America, nobody wants to do what they could do, because when they do what they could do and Russia, responds, or Russia does what it could do, and America and Europe respond, the whole world suffers, and nobody wants to end this thing now.
And
Whether we see the world coming or not.
we're really suffering right now. In England, we're suffering high energy bills, high petrol bills. I'm telling you, everything is just
And your weather
impossible
is making
right
it
now.
worse. Your weather is making it worse. You guys don't even know what to do with your rising heat, because you can't
That's
you can't have that either.
That's very correct. We'll just leave it there. We'll definitely have Dr. Godwin to come back one of these days. Um, uh, Ambassador Nat, I want to switch to Nigeria immediately because of our time. Atiku has got Governor Wike as his running mate. Who is Tinubu going for?
Well, let's be moderate with this article running mate. It's still in the realm of speculation.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
The PDP National Working Committee, the highest policy-making body, has not officially unveiled the running mate to Atiku. The committee was appointed or set up by PDP to hunt for a running mate, a committee of 17. When they took a vote, 13 people went for Wike, and the remaining 4 votes went to the other people like Okowa
and Udom.
Udom, yes. So that is the situation. But we know in Nigeria, rumors turns out to be truth most of the time. So we're waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow is not too far away, in a few hours' time.
How about Tinubu?
Tinubu is still battling with whether it's going to be a Muslim ticket. If it's going to be a Muslim ticket, Shetima, Senator Shetima may be the running mate of Tinubu.
And if it's going to be Muslim Christian, who do you think will come?
It's going to be Muslim in the case of if Tinubu has his way.
Dr. Godwin, you think Tinubu can bluff the whole of the Christians and say, go to where you want to go. I don't care. I'm going to have a Muslim, because the Northerners will never vote for a Northern Christian to be their representative for the next 8 years. So I don't care. You think it's going to work like that for them?
The number of things that have Nigeria has gone away with, starting from the massacre at the Lekki toll gate, which we seem to have almost forgotten. It's not. I don't like to pretend like Nigeria isn't Nigeria. Number of things they've been able to go away with. But what we can see now is we can see among the youths and even among some Muslims and in the north, we can see a lot of support for Peter Obi, for example. Even though he's in a known traditional party, that for me is surprising. But about Muslims, this is not surprising for me, and what Nigeria can get away with isn't surprising. But to see the amount of support I see for Peter Obi in all parts of Nigeria, especially among even the younger people, it's surprising. Let me put it this way.
Okay, let me thank you. Sorry, I just have to cut it because of time. Dr. Sita, what's the mood on the ground? Can Christian Association of Nigeria said, don't try Muslim. Personally, I think it's just a hollow statement. What do you think?
It has happened before. Abiola tried Muslim and won. I mean, so what is strange about this? The only reason why people are complaining about this is the man Tinubu himself. So if it was someone else, some other Yoruba Muslim person that is doing this, they have a vote, they have an election. But the fact is that it is Tinubu, and then he made so much noise about this being, his inheritance. Nobody has had him say anything that he wants to do. Nobody has had him say the kind of change he's bringing, different from what the change that he installed earlier on, for 8 years. So that's what's making it difficult. It is the man himself that is making his running mate an issue. Otherwise,
so if I have to make a prediction, are you going to make a prediction like Nat Muslim for APC?
Oh no, he's not Muslim because they are trying to bring the female factor too. They are trying to go to the UN and bring Amina to him. These are the things that they're considering.
And do you think the the Christian of Southwest will buy that one?
The way Tinubu has gotten away with everything that he has done, we're not considering Southwest anymore. He has them in his pocket.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Nat. Yeah, Ambassador Nat, this is very interesting. Buhari has become a lame dog president. The mystery of Buhari when he won the election in 2015, when he regained the same presidency in 2019, suddenly disappeared last week when his own anointed candidate was jettisoned and far away third or fourth person. And even the Senate president is fighting for his life to be a senator in the next election. What will you say about Buhari? He has been demystified. The presidential cabal has been demystified. The history is not going to be kind of Buhari about his myth of 12 million votes. The governors told Buhari, you are nobody when it comes to politics. That was it. So the history is going to be is going to run down Buhari at the latter part of his 8-year conclusion. Or what do you say?
No, but right from the onset, right from 2015, those who are close to how the presidency of Buhari has been operating know that Buhari has never been in charge. Even in the military era, it was Idi Agman who was calling the shots. And so when you now come to this civilian dispensation, it is only now that Buhari is becoming more exposed to what the mystery has been removed, the mask has been removed from him. And this is the first time that we are going to have an African head of state not being able to determine who his successor will be. Because now, apart from the Adamu Ablai becoming the consensus candidate of the national chairman of
Chairman.
MPC, Buhari has lost everything.
In fact,
He's no longer in
Adamu's
control.
position may be compromised any moment from now. Those governors can even remove him.
Adamu will be removed immediately after May 29, 2023. Adamu is gone.
Assuredly.
I can assure you that Adamu is gone. And once he's gone, no legacy is left for Buhari. Buhari has nothing again in the history of Nigeria, 7 years and then 8 years.
Okay. Mark in Milan, Buhari's myth has disappeared, hasn't it?
Yes. It's one thing to be a leader. It's another thing to be a dynamic leader. It's obvious we've seen that our man Buhari is not a dynamic leader. But nature has always given him shot to leadership. But he's that kind of leader that just sits there, like Ambassador Nat said. Even in his days as a military leader, he was the vice that was known. Idiagbon was the one that was taking the shots. So somehow the man has done his part. He will be going off soon, and we will have to face the what happens after he leaves, and a lot will be happening. A lot will be happening because he didn't place structures very well. So there will be so many falling off, falling apart, falling. All kinds of commotions will be going on when he leaves because he wasn't dynamic enough to put things.
Can we get the voice of Dr. Sita? I know we may find it difficult to get his face. Yes. Dr. Sita, can we get your voice?
Yes, I am here. If you can't see my face,
all right, we can see your face now. In one statement.
In one statement, you guys, I think you guys are getting it wrong. Buhari has served everything he was supposed to serve. As military and as civilian, they know what to use him for. They brought him there because of what he can do, not because he could lead. And I'm surprised they're calling a politician a leader. What makes him a leader? These people are not there to lead. They are just there to do what they've come to do, to work for the next 4 years and for their pockets. That's my one sentence.
Oh, thank you very much. Dr. Godwin, we want you to come back. In fact, join this team because what you'll be telling us from Moscow is very important. But let me give you 1 minute, 1 minute to tell us how do you think Moscow, as in the government in Moscow, how do they rate Buhari and Nigeria?
Yes, thank you. So Moscow is Russia, represented by Moscow. It's geared towards improving relationship with Africa, and there are lots of dialogue going on. There are lots of vehicles for this, promoting investment. We can see it by the means of different politicians and leaders from the Russian side and from the African side. But Russia is not the kind of country that interferes in politics of another country, especially when it's not really representing their interests. They would most likely support any leader that would continue their contracts or continue their agreements without trying to cause a kind of change in the system. And most importantly, we forgot to mention the bill on diaspora voting, which was rejected by the Senate. For we in diaspora, we are definitely affected by that. And of course, when we can't choose our leader, it's limited what we can do to influence bilateral relations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Godwin. We may invite you next week if you don't mind. This is how far we'll go today. We want to thank Dr. Godwin Ibe from Moscow, who has given us a load of X-ray into Russia-Ukrainian war. We want to thank Dr. Sita Nemeka in the capital of Nigeria, Abuja. I want to thank in-house researcher, Ambassador Nati Yakwo, Macmillan in Mark Godwin in Milan, and of course all the crews, the studio crew in Italy. This is where we leave it today, and we'll be back next Wednesday. We'll have known all the running mates, and we'll be able to do more analysis. Thank you for watching. My name is Shegun Johnson, and we'll sure be with you next week. God bless you all.